Shalom, shalom. You're watching Rabbi Simon Altafa Cohen, and this topic is going to concern something that is out there, something that certain individuals without any understanding who are going around making false accusations, false statements regarding myself, that I teach that homosexuality is okay for the Israelites. I want to categorically state that homosexuality is not okay for the Israelites, but we'll look into that. We'll look into the Goyim, the Gentiles, what God has stated in Leviticus 18, chapters 22, where it is stated that the Israelites are not permitted to lie together, male to male. And it also needs to be said that that particular chapter, that particular context, is within the confines, in the context of the tabernacle of Israel or the temple. In other words, we were not permitted to have any kind of homosexual practices in and around the temple, such as Gentile nations did with male and female priests, male and female prostitutes. Excuse me. Also, you got to understand that the second reference that is made in the same book, Leviticus chapters 20 verse 13, where it again emphasizes that a man may not lie with another man, and then if we are to find anybody in such a situation, that we are to put them to death. Again, the context is the land of Israel, the context is the temple, and the context is death for Israelites who went into such practices. However, what has to be said, again, the context is very important. The context is not that we just find anybody out there who is doing this in his privacy, who is outside the land of Israel. It's not applying to those people. In other words, this does not apply to the going to the Gentiles. What is happening outside, as you know, is ignorant Christians, and of course ignorant pseudo-Christians out there are going around teaching that you can kill the homosexuals, you can banish them from the land in North America or other lands that they are into, or wherever they live. Actually, that's not what God stated. God was very clear. What the statement was very clear in the Torah, that this is to the Israelites only. Therefore, what I have taught, which is some of the rabbis, not all the rabbis, let's not blame all the rabbis, let's take some of the rabbis. Some of the rabbis have said that King David and Jonathan may have had a relationship, some kind of physical relationship. They have also stated that perhaps Naomi and Ruth also had a relationship. Now, the rabbis have stated that. Not all rabbis believe that. Do I believe that? No, I don't believe that. But it is a rabbinic issue. It is something that is stated, and it's something that some believe and many others don't believe. So this is where we stand with the Torah. The Torah is given to Israel. The law of Moses is for Israel, those that were chosen by God, irrelevant of color, ethnicity, those who came into Israel and became Israel, irrelevant of their race. So therefore this does not apply to the common people of the land. In other words, if we are in North America, this does not apply to North Americans who are not the ones recipient of the Torah. Those that don't accept the Torah, those that want to live Gentile lives. And I will go so far as to say the so-called Noahide laws invented by rabbis in the 2nd to the 4th century, where some people will use those laws to stipulate that adultery constitutes death penalty, and that if two males had intimacy together in homosexuality, that counts as adultery, therefore they could be put together by the Noahide laws. However, I will dispute that because that does not apply. Again, remember the context is that these were invented in the 2nd to the 4th century Common Era. Not in the Torah, not in Torah times. They were never applied by any rabbis, by any elders, by any priesthood of our ancient forefathers. Never applied those laws to Gentiles, to the Goyim. Same way, we do not apply the homosexuality laws to the Gentile nations. What the Gentile nations do, what I have stated, which is very clear, is what the Gentiles do in the privacy of their home, in their countries, is nothing to do with us. That is got to be very clear. We are to have mercy. We are to have compassion on those people who live different types of lifestyles, and maybe some of us don't agree with them. Maybe some of us feel very strongly about it. but we are not to go around condemning them, putting them to death, driving them out of the country, all of those kind of things, homophobic attacks. We do not teach that, we do not follow that, we do not practice it. I also want to state for the ignoramuses out there, the pseudo-Christians and the so-called Christians, the ignorant of our scrolls, that we were told that Sodom and Gomorrah were destroyed. A lot of people out there believe that Sodom and Gomorrah were destroyed because of homosexuality. That is not true. Sodom and Gomorrah were destroyed for the sin of affluence, injustice, and being unmerciful to the poor and to the needy. And I want to read a passage to you, and I'm not going to read from the Hidden Truths Hebraic Scrolls. I'm going to read one from the Common Bible that is out there, and this is Ezekiel chapter 16, verses 49. So if you give me a moment, I'll pull it up. Ezekiel 16:49 states as follows. This is proof from the prophet Ezekiel. Now this was the sin of your sister Sodom. She and her daughters were arrogant, overfed, and unconcerned. They did not help the poor and the needy. They were haughty and did detestable things before me. There I did away with them, as you have seen, and that's where it stops. In other words, these people in Sodom and Gomorrah were haughty. They were detestable before the sight of the God of Israel, because they were very, very wicked in regards to helping the poor. Halakhically, we know that one of Lot's daughters, from the story of Sodom, one of his daughters, one point, tried to help the poor. She found a poor person who needed to eat, and she fed him. When she fed him, then what happened is that the Sodomites, the people of Sodom, found out that she had done that, and that was contrary to their law. So they basically had her killed, and then if anybody else tried to feed a poor person or a stranger, a foreigner that came into the land, what they would do is, which they did to some other people, they would strip the person down who tried to feed the poor person. They would put all honey over them, and they will then cause the bees to sting that person until that person died. These are the kind of sins and the wickedness that the people of Sodom and Amorah did. Therefore, the result was that God had them destroyed. However, to apply Sodom and Gomorrah's destruction in modern day America or modern day England or some other country, it will be totally wrong. Because what the people do in the lands of the Gentiles is not our concern, because the Torah is only given to Israel. So I leave you with this statement that I, Rabbi Simon Altaf, HaKohen, do not promote homosexuality for the Israelites. I'm very clear that Israelites are to refrain from such practices, but if the Goyim want to do these practices, the Gentiles want to do them, that is nothing to do with us, that is not our concern. We are to have compassion, mercy, and justice for these people, not judgment. So I leave you with this message. Rabbi Simon Altaf. Shalom, shalom.